Ave Maria Purissima. Hello YouTube family and welcome to Convent Cucina. I'm Sister Marie and I'm the sister cook here in Angel Wings Residential Home for Retired Priests. Today I'm going to show you how to prepare your canners properly and preserve probably the easiest thing to preserve, which is raw pack meat. And today a favorite of mine and the residents here is corned beef. We have here 15 pounds of corned beef. This is already chunked up. And this one here is not, because I want to show you how important it is to rinse off all of these spices. Whenever you can anything, you have to remember that any flavorings that you put in will really exacerbate. They will really take on a great flavor. You see there? And this little bit of fat here is actually really good. It's not too much at all. So let me take this over to the sink. We're rinsing this off. This is a pretty big piece of fat on the back, so I am going to trim this off. All right, so I'm just going to remove this and I'll bring you back when I'm all done with this. I'm getting this piece of fat off of here, okay? We are back. I'm going to use pretty large chunks, but hopefully they're all cut pretty much the same size, okay? It makes for even cooking. So this is about 1 inch thick. I'm just gonna cut along here. These are all gonna be uniform as much as they can be. And there's no better tasting meat than the meat that is cooked in a pressure canner. Okay, welcome back. It's time to jar. Now we have a few utensils here that aren't mandatory, however, they make things a whole lot easier. We have a funnel that it goes right inside the jar, eliminating about 90% of the chance of having grease or food get onto the rim of the jar. And this is why we use a little bit of vinegar. You'll see in a moment. We clean the jars off to get all of that grease off. If we put it in, go through all this work, and we put it in the canner, and we have a false seal, it's very disappointing, and especially if it's because we had a dirty rim. So when you're raw packing, try to get in there and poke down pretty hard. Really pack it in, leaving 1 inch of head space. And a pretty good rule is 1 pint is 16 ounces. 16 ounces is a pound. So a pint will hold a pound. This is going to be really yummy. Just imagine not having to worry. If you go to the grocery store, you don't find any food there, or you don't have the meat that you want to roast, and there's no roast available, which has happened to me in the recent past. Well, you can just know that you come home and you've got meat already canned up, and you're not going to go without dinner. Clean the rims with a little bit of vinegar. Okay, now we do not have to put any kind of water or juice, bouillon. We don't put anything in here because as the meat cooks, this is the beauty of it, it will cook in its own juices. And then the pressurization will really put all of those juices right back into the meat, and it's fabulous. So I have my lids soaking in warm water. I know Bald Book says that you don't have to do this anymore, but I still do it because it's a habit that I like. And I'm all about habits. So here we go. Very simple. This is another great tool, the little magnet. Just takes it right out of the water. You've got clean, warm rubber gaskets right there. See, a little warm. And that's important because when it gets hot, as it cools down, it'll cause a vacuum and it will seal. And that rubber will act like a gasket. That's exactly what it is. Now, finger tight. If you have a husband that wants to come in and help you, make sure you don't let him crank down these bands. Finger tight is all you need because as they cook, you need some room for the air to come out. So what I do with the leftover vinegar, it's only about a quarter cup. It's not a big deal, but I put it inside the canner and it takes care of, well, it's already wanting to pop and it's not even cooked. And it takes care of any of the cloudiness that you will get with hard water. This is an All-American canner and was gifted to me. Quite heavy, All-American and all aluminum. And what we do here is, first of all, we'll put 3 inches of water in there, which I have, and always use a bottom rack because you never want your jar sitting on the bottom of the cooker. If you do not have a bottom rack, you can always use the bands that go on the canning jars and set them around there, and then set your jars. Okay. But what we do in place of a gasket is use a little bit of Vaseline, or you can use olive oil or something like that, and just put a light coating all the way around here. And what this does is this causes a seal, better than a gasket, and you don't ever have to worry about breaking or cracking and losing the seal in the middle of your processing. Okay, now we go over to the lid. You'll notice we have here a pressure gauge and we have a vent. What you need to do each and every time that you use your pressure canner is to look through the hole and see if you can see daylight. If it is blocked, you cannot use it. You will ruin your canner. It needs to vent. So, a really good thing to remember, because we never want any thermal shock. Cold food in cold jars in cold water. If you're doing a raw pack, that's the preferred way for me. That's what I do. But when you do a hot pack, you need hot water, hot jars. Everything has to complement. So I'm just going to take these beautiful little jars of corned beef. Look at that. Oh, it's going to be lovely. And I'm going to fill them all up. Now, what's going to happen, I can see right now, I don't have as many jars as I thought I was going to have. And you want everything balanced. So I'll put that on there. And I'm going to put the remainder 3 jars on this second rack. Well, that's quite uneven. So I'm going to fill up these extra jars with water just to balance them out. If you like, and you want to keep some sterile water, saline, you can make some saline with a little bit of salt. You can just use sterile water for emergencies in your first aid kit. You can put a ring and a band on them and you can pressurize them. And when you're done, you'll have sterile water to go with your first aid kit. But for right now, I'm not even going to put lids on them. And we're about to start our canner. But one quick thing I want to share with you is, you see these jars with the lug nuts, or the type of lugs that are here that grasp on? I save these. Do not throw them out because you can use these as canning jars. They have a little pop right there, just like our canning lids. And when we're all done, we'll take this one out and you'll see that it has sealed also. And this is just water. We've gassed and we put our oil here around, so we're going to have a good seal. And I'm going to line up my arrows here on the canner. And if you have an All-American, make sure you watch the video, read the book, because it's valuable information. So we do 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock, finger tight. Okay. And 8 o'clock and 2 o'clock. And 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. And when you're taking them out, you do the same thing. You release them the same way. All right, so we're going to turn on high heat here. And we're going to wait for that 3 inches of water to come to a boil. When it boils, we'll see some steam. And when there is a good heavy stream of steam coming out of the vent, we have to let it do that for 10 minutes, not a minute less, because 10 minutes at high heat will take all of the extra air out of the cavity of your canner. You need that air gone. The pressure canner was venting for 10 minutes. I set the timer. After 10 minutes, I put the 10-pound weight on. And right now, we're waiting for it to come up to 11 pounds of pressure. Right there, you see that? And when, this is the 10-pound weight, 10 and 15 and 5, depending on your altitude. So I do the 10-pound. Okay. We're waiting for the 11 pounds of pressure to build up in this canner. And when that happens, as soon as it hits 11 pounds, we're going to turn the timer on for 75 minutes. It's important to remember that you have to regulate your heat to maintain the 11 pounds of pressure. If at any time you walk away and it dips down to 10 pounds of pressure, or even worse, you need to start your 75 minutes, even if it's whatever time you're doing it for, you need to start it all over again. For safety reasons, you must have your jars canning at 11 pounds of pressure for the entire time. So you have to remember, it's very important. So let me see, is that at 11 pounds of pressure? Yes, it is. Okay, so right now, I'm going to 75 minutes and an hour and 15 minutes, 75 minutes. And you hear the jiggle, and it should jiggle 3 to 5 times every minute because it's letting a little bit of pressure out. And I'm going to keep this on high, but just I'm going to lower just a tiny bit to make sure that I maintain 11 pounds of pressure. If I go to 12 pounds, that's okay. I just can't go down to 10 pounds or I'll start my time all over again. Welcome back, YouTubers. Okay, where we're at, we have 12 pints of delicious corned beef that is just finished, the 75 minutes pressure canning time. And you can see that the 11 pounds of pressure has gone down to 0, and the 10 pounds of weight no longer exuding any steam. So I'm going to release these toggles, opposite toggles at the same time, 8 o'clock and 2 o'clock, and I do them together, 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. That way we avoid any possibility of warping. Everything is together. Okay. Now, if you have a canner like this or any other canner, when you release it and you bring it up, make sure you tilt it away from yourself. You don't want to get a steam burn. That's really bad. Okay. So, here we go. Up and away. Okay. And, oh boy, look at this. Look at this. Now remember, we had to put extra jars of water because we want to make everything counterbalance. And look at that corned beef. It's still bubbling, and it will bubble for quite some time, at least another hour. That is the corned beef. Now, after several hours, that water, which is its own juices, will be absorbed, and oh, it's just beautiful. Okay, and there's another one. There's another one. The happy sound is when they're pinging. Okay, so there you have it. And look at all this. It is still boiling like crazy, and that's been shut off for over a half an hour now. Ping, ping, do you hear that? That's wonderful. Okay, you can see there's water still on top, but we didn't have any siphoning, so that's a good thing. You can see inside the water, there is no grease in that water, so there's no siphoning, and that's a good thing, because when it's siphoning, you have what's in the jar coming out of the jar, passing over that rim that you wanted to clean. There's another thing that you cleaned with the vinegar. And if the oil or whatever passes over that, then it may not seal. Then you'll have a faulty seal. And that's sad, because all of your hard work will have gone for nothing. Now these will sit for 24 hours, and sometime tomorrow I will take the bands off and give them a good scrubbing. The glass is not cloudy because we put the vinegar in the water. Had I not put the vinegar in the water, sometimes because of the hard water in our area, the jars will be very cloudy and unappetizing. So you just scrub them off, and that's fine. I'm going to scrub them off anyway, just because I want them nice and clean, and then I will label them what they are and the date that I canned them, and put them up in the extended pantry for a rainy day. So if you like what we're doing here and you want to support Angel Wings and the support of the retired priests who may not be able to live on their own, but they're not ready for the nursing home, like our videos, share them, subscribe to us, and we will see you soon. God bless you, one and all. Bye-bye.